Have you ever wondered if something as simple as the cinnamon in your kitchen could actually harm your brain or even raise your risk of cancer? Most people sprinkle it on oatmeal, add it to baked goods, or even mix it into coffee without a second thought. Cinnamon feels harmless, even healthy. But here's the shocking truth. The way you eat cinnamon could make all the difference between protecting your health and quietly damaging it. Stay with me until the end of this video, because not only will I clear up the myths, I'll also show you the safest way to enjoy cinnamon so you get all of its benefits without the hidden dangers. And as a reward for watching until the end, you'll walk away knowing exactly how to avoid the risks and how to choose the right type of cinnamon for your body. Cinnamon has been used for thousands of years. Ancient cultures valued it like gold, not just for flavor, but also for healing. Even today, modern science confirms that cinnamon has powerful antioxidants and anti-inflammatory compounds that support the heart, stabilize blood sugar, and may even protect the brain. That's why so many health enthusiasts recommend it. But here's where things get tricky. Not all cinnamon is the same. What sits on your spice rack could be doing more harm than good if you're eating it the wrong way or in the wrong form. Most of the cinnamon sold in supermarkets is cassia cinnamon, which contains a compound called coumarin. This compound is natural, but in high amounts it can damage your liver and has been shown in animal studies to have carcinogenic effects. That means it can increase the risk of cancer when consumed in large doses over time. Research from the European Food Safety Authority has even set a tolerable daily intake for coumarin, warning that too much can be toxic. The problem is that just 1 teaspoon of cassia cinnamon can exceed that safe limit. Many people don't realize this and keep adding it daily, thinking they are boosting their health, while slowly putting strain on their liver. And when it comes to your brain, the confusion grows. Some studies have shown cinnamon extracts improving memory and protecting nerve cells. Yet, if the cinnamon you're consuming is contaminated with heavy metals like lead, as the FDA recently warned about in certain cinnamon products, that's where the real danger to memory and cognitive health comes in. Lead exposure, even in small amounts, is directly linked to memory loss, reduced brain function, and long-term neurological problems. So it's not the cinnamon itself destroying memory, it's the contamination and the toxic compounds that come along with careless production and overuse. This is why you need to be careful with how you use cinnamon. Eating it by the spoonful in so-called challenges is dangerous, not only because it can choke you, but because the dry powder can enter your lungs and cause real damage. Adding large amounts daily without knowing the type or source is risky too. The good news is that there is a safe way to enjoy it, and I'll show you exactly how to choose the right type and the right amount before this video ends. Imagine this. Instead of unknowingly harming your body, you could be harnessing cinnamon's true power to support your health. You could boost your memory, stabilize your energy levels, and protect yourself against inflammation. That's the reward for learning the truth today. By watching until the end, you'll discover how to separate myth from fact and how to enjoy cinnamon without fear. So don't miss the next part. Because once you know the hidden secret of which cinnamon to choose and how much is safe, you'll never look at this common spice the same way again. Cinnamon is one of the world's oldest and most beloved spices, yet very few people know that there are actually 2 main types, and the difference between them could mean the difference between safe use and long-term health problems. The most common type, cassia cinnamon, is what you'll usually find in grocery stores. It has a stronger, more pungent flavor and is cheaper to produce, which is why it dominates the market. Then there's Ceylon cinnamon, often called true cinnamon. It's more delicate in taste, lighter in color, and far lower in the compound that raises concerns for your health. Understanding this difference is the first step in protecting yourself from hidden risks while still enjoying everything cinnamon has to offer. The compound at the center of this discussion is coumarin. In small amounts, coumarin might not be an issue, but when consumed regularly in high amounts, it can damage the liver and, in laboratory studies with animals, has been linked to cancer development. This is not speculation. It's a well-documented fact recognized by health authorities such as the European Food Safety Authority. They have established a tolerable daily intake for coumarin at 0, 1 milligrams per kilogram of body weight. To put that into perspective, just 1 teaspoon of cassia cinnamon can contain around 5 milligrams of coumarin, which may already be too much for a small child or someone of lighter weight. Consuming that amount every day for weeks or months could quietly harm the liver without obvious symptoms at first. The truth is, most people don't realize how easily they can exceed safe levels. They sprinkle cinnamon on their cereal, mix it into smoothies, or take capsules of cinnamon supplements marketed for blood sugar control without thinking about the total amount they're consuming. It's only later, after months of exposure, that the effects may appear in blood tests or symptoms of fatigue, weakness, or even jaundice from liver stress. That's why being aware of what kind of cinnamon you're eating and how much you re-adding is not just a detail, it's a matter of long-term health protection. Ceylon cinnamon, on the other hand, contains only trace amounts of coumarin, making it far safer for regular use. This is why many nutrition experts call it the superior choice. However, because it's more expensive to produce, it is not as widely available, and many people unknowingly buy cassia thinking it's the same thing. If you check product labels carefully, you can usually identify whether it's cassia or Ceylon. If the label doesn't say, it's almost always cassia by default. Ceylon is often marketed specifically as Ceylon or true cinnamon, and may be imported from countries like Sri Lanka. Now, some people might wonder, if cinnamon has risks, should we avoid it completely? The answer is no. Cinnamon also has proven benefits that make it worth including in your diet in the right way. Scientific research shows that cinnamon is rich in antioxidants, compounds that help the body fight free radicals, which are unstable molecules that can damage cells and accelerate aging. Cinnamon has also been shown to improve insulin sensitivity, which helps stabilize blood sugar levels. For people with type 2 diabetes or those at risk, moderate cinnamon intake can support healthier glucose control. Beyond that, certain extracts of cinnamon have demonstrated antimicrobial properties, meaning they can help fight off bacteria and fungi, making cinnamon useful not only as a flavoring but also as a natural preservative. Where things become complicated is when people go from moderate food level amounts to excessive supplement level doses, taking large capsules of cinnamon extract without knowing whether it comes from cassia or Ceylon, and without understanding the dose of coumarin, can turn what should be a helpful spice into a health threat. That's why regulatory bodies and scientists emphasize caution with cinnamon supplements. While small amounts sprinkled in food are generally safe and often beneficial, concentrated extracts can deliver much higher levels of coumarin than the body can safely handle. Memory and brain health are also tied to this conversation. Some studies have found that compounds in cinnamon may inhibit the buildup of tau proteins and amyloid plaques, both associated with Alzheimer's disease. Animal studies show that cinnamon may protect neurons and improve cognitive performance. However, the problem is that these studies often use controlled extracts in specific doses, not the random amounts found in everyday cinnamon powder. On the other side, risks to brain health usually don't come from cinnamon itself, but from contamination. The FDA recently issued warnings about cinnamon products found to contain elevated levels of lead. Even low levels of lead exposure are linked to memory loss, poor concentration, and long-term neurological decline. This means the danger to your memory is less about the natural spice and more about the quality and safety of the product you buy. So what's the big picture here? Cinnamon can be both a friend and a foe. On one side, it offers antioxidants, helps balance blood sugar, supports the heart, and may even protect the brain. On the other side, excessive coumarin in cassia cinnamon and contamination risks make it something you must handle with care. The safest way forward is not to give up cinnamon, but to choose wisely, know the type, monitor the amount, and make sure your source is trustworthy. By doing this, you avoid hidden dangers while unlocking real benefits. Conclusion and call to action. Many of the alarming claims about cinnamon spread online begin with bold statements that it causes cancer, that it leads to memory loss, or that it is secretly toxic. These headlines often grab attention, but the truth requires careful separation of myth from science. To understand whether these claims have any basis, it is important to look at where they come from. In most cases, the fears about cancer come from studies on coumarin, the natural compound found in higher amounts in cassia cinnamon. In animal experiments where very high doses of coumarin were given over long periods, researchers saw evidence of liver damage and, in some cases, cancerous changes. This is the seed of the worry. But when you translate those massive experimental doses to human consumption, the amounts are far beyond what most people would ever eat through normal food use. The real risk comes not from the occasional cinnamon roll or sprinkle on your coffee, but from frequent daily overconsumption of cassia cinnamon in large amounts or concentrated supplements without awareness of coumarin content. When it comes to memory loss, the story takes a different turn. Cinnamon itself has not been proven to cause memory decline in humans. In fact, much of the research points in the opposite direction. Compounds in cinnamon, such as cinnamaldehyde and cinnamic acid, have been shown in laboratory studies to protect nerve cells and even prevent the buildup of harmful proteins that are linked with Alzheimer's disease. In animal models, cinnamon extracts have improved learning and memory performance. Small human studies suggest that cinnamon might help with attention and cognitive processing, though these trials are still limited and more research is needed. So where does the fear of memory loss come from? The main concern lies not with cinnamon itself, but with contaminated products, especially those tainted with heavy metals like lead. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration has issued warnings after finding elevated lead levels in certain cinnamon powders and cinnamon-flavored products. Lead is a well-known neurotoxin that damages brain function, reduces memory, and slows learning. This means that when people experience issues, it is often the result of contamination rather than the spice itself. It's easy to see how confusion develops. On one hand, cinnamon is celebrated as a brain booster in the wellness world. On the other, rumors circulate that it destroys memory and causes cancer. The truth sits between these extremes. Used responsibly and in the right form, cinnamon offers more benefit than harm. But ignoring the type of cinnamon, neglecting quality control, or consuming it in reckless amounts can open the door to real risks. The problem is not cinnamon as a spice. The problem is misuse, poor sourcing, and lack of awareness. Take the example of coumarin again. The European Food Safety Authority set the tolerable daily intake at 0, 1 milligrams per kilogram of body weight. For someone weighing 60 kilograms, that limit would be about 6 milligrams of coumarin per day. A single teaspoon of cassia cinnamon can contain more than this. If you consume that amount every day for weeks, you are pushing your liver into unnecessary stress. The danger grows if you also take supplements, drink teas made with cinnamon sticks, or add extra spoonfuls to smoothies. The risk is not immediate poisoning, but cumulative damage over time. In contrast, Ceylon cinnamon contains almost no coumarin, making it much safer even for daily use. By simply switching to Ceylon, you remove most of the concern. As for cancer, it is crucial to be precise. While animal studies show coumarin may cause cancer in very high doses, no strong human evidence shows that normal use of cinnamon leads to cancer. In fact, cinnamon has been investigated for potential anti-cancer properties. Extracts from cinnamon bark have demonstrated the ability to slow tumor growth and induce cancer cell death in laboratory settings. These findings are still in early stages, but they highlight that cinnamon's role in cancer is far more complex than the fear-based headlines suggest. Instead of being a direct cause of cancer, cinnamon in certain forms may actually help fight it. This again shows how important it is to focus on dosage, type, and quality. On the issue of memory, the evidence leans towards cinnamon being beneficial, not harmful. What is harmful is heavy metal contamination. Lead exposure has devastating consequences for the brain, especially in children and young adults. This is why buying cinnamon from reliable brands, ideally those that test for contaminants, is so important. It's not only about the label of cassia versus Ceylon, but also about the safety and purity of the product. Choosing cheap, low-quality sources may save a little money, but could cost your health in the long run. The lesson here is clear. The frightening claims about cinnamon causing cancer and memory loss are not entirely baseless, but they are oversimplified and often misunderstood. Coumarin in cassia cinnamon can indeed damage the liver. and has shown carcinogenic effects in animals, but the levels that most people consume occasionally are not enough to spark immediate alarm. Memory loss is not caused by cinnamon itself, but by contaminants that sometimes sneak into poorly regulated products. By learning this distinction, you gain control over how to use cinnamon wisely. You no longer have to fear this spice, but you do have to respect it. With proper knowledge, you can enjoy its benefits while avoiding its risks. Conclusion and call to action. Cinnamon's relationship with the brain is one of the most fascinating and misunderstood parts of its story. While myths suggest it harms memory, the weight of scientific evidence shows the opposite. Laboratory studies have revealed that compounds in cinnamon can influence the brain in powerful ways. For example, cinnamaldehyde and epicatechin, two key chemicals found in cinnamon, have been shown to prevent the buildup of tau proteins in the brain. These proteins are directly linked to the development of Alzheimer's disease. When they tangle and accumulate, they disrupt communication between brain cells, leading to memory decline and cognitive impairment. By stopping these tangles, cinnamon shows the potential to protect memory rather than destroy it. Animal studies provide more encouraging clues. In experiments with mice, cinnamon extracts improved learning ability and memory performance. Researchers noted that cinnamon seemed to encourage new connections in the brain and reduce inflammation, both of which are critical for protecting cognitive function. While animal studies cannot be applied directly to humans without caution, they offer a window into the biological potential of cinnamon to act as a neuroprotective agent. Small human trials, though limited, have also hinted at cognitive benefits, including improvements in attention and working memory after cinnamon consumption. These findings are early, but they paint a picture very different from the fear-based claim that cinnamon causes memory loss. What causes confusion is not the spice itself, but the way it is consumed and where it comes from. When cinnamon is contaminated with lead, as seen in recent recalls of certain ground cinnamon products, the danger becomes real. Lead is a confirmed neurotoxin, and its effects on the brain are severe. Even at low levels, lead exposure can impair concentration, slow learning, and reduce memory capacity. In children, these effects are permanent and devastating. In adults, prolonged exposure contributes to cognitive decline and may accelerate dementia. So when people experience memory problems connected to cinnamon products, it is often due to hidden contamination rather than cinnamon's natural compounds. This is why quality matters as much as quantity. Choosing cinnamon from reputable brands that test for heavy metals and toxins is non-negotiable if you care about protecting your memory. It's not enough to buy whatever is cheapest on the shelf. The cheapest products are often sourced with little oversight, increasing the chance of contamination. On the other hand, well-tested and trusted brands give you cinnamon's natural benefits without the invisible threat of brain-damaging toxins. By being mindful of quality, you transform cinnamon from a possible hazard into a valuable ally for brain health. Beyond protection against toxic buildup, cinnamon also influences the brain through its effects on blood sugar regulation. Spikes and crashes in blood sugar levels can affect mental clarity, mood, and memory. Cinnamon has been shown to improve insulin sensitivity, allowing cells to use glucose more efficiently. By stabilizing blood sugar, cinnamon indirectly supports brain performance, since the brain depends heavily on a steady supply of glucose to function properly. This may explain why some people report sharper focus and better energy levels after including moderate amounts of cinnamon in their diets. It is important, however, to keep balance in mind. Too much cassia cinnamon, with its high coumarin content, risks liver damage, and once the liver is weakened, toxins build up in the body and can indirectly affect the brain as well. The brain and the liver are connected through complex pathways of detoxification and metabolism. A struggling liver cannot filter harmful compounds efficiently, which in turn exposes the brain to higher levels of stress. This is one of the overlooked ways in which reckless cinnamon use can harm memory, not because cinnamon directly erodes brain cells, but because excess coumarin compromises liver function and indirectly allows toxins to affect the brain. So when it comes to the question of cinnamon and memory loss, the real answer is about balance, quality, and awareness. Pure cinnamon, especially Ceylon cinnamon, offers compounds that may protect neurons, reduce inflammation, and support learning and memory. Contaminated cinnamon or reckless use of cassia in large doses creates the opposite outcome. It places stress on the liver and increases exposure to harmful substances that damage cognitive function. The line between harm and help is not in the spice itself, but in how it is sourced and used. The take-home truth is simple. Cinnamon is not an enemy of memory. It can be a powerful protector when chosen wisely and consumed moderately. The danger lies not in the spice but in contamination and misuse. By understanding the science and respecting the limits, you give your brain the chance to benefit from cinnamon instead of being harmed by it. This knowledge alone is a powerful tool to cut through the noise of myths and misinformation and focus on what truly matters for long-term brain health. Conclusion and call to action. While cinnamon's role in memory has been surrounded by confusion, its connection to cancer has created even more fear and misunderstanding. Many people have heard the alarming claim that cinnamon causes cancer, but very few understand where this idea comes from. The concern begins with coumarin, the compound found in much higher concentrations in cassia cinnamon. Animal studies have shown that when coumarin is given in extremely high doses over long periods, it can damage the liver and in some cases trigger the development of tumors. These results cannot be ignored, but they must be put into perspective. The doses used in these studies are far beyond what a person would typically consume in normal food. What they do highlight, however, is the danger of consistently consuming large amounts of cassia cinnamon every single day, particularly through supplements or concentrated extracts, where coumarin exposure can quickly build up. For humans, the evidence does not show that cinnamon itself is a cause of cancer. In fact, research is moving in a very different direction. Multiple laboratory studies have found that cinnamon extracts may actually have anti-cancer properties. Certain compounds in cinnamon appear to interfere with the growth of cancer cells, trigger cancer cell death, and reduce inflammation, which is often a driver of tumor progression. In cell cultures and animal models, cinnamon has demonstrated the ability to slow down or prevent the spread of cancerous activity. These results are early, and scientists caution that they cannot be directly translated into guaranteed effects for people. But they do reveal that cinnamon is far from the simple cancer-causing ingredient that fear-based claims suggest. If anything, in carefully controlled conditions, it may be a weapon against cancer rather than a cause of it. The real danger is not cinnamon itself, but how it is consumed and the quality of the product. Excessive amounts of cassia cinnamon raise coumarin levels to a point that could stress the liver, and over time, a stressed liver becomes more vulnerable to damage. It is this pathway that creates concern, not cinnamon's natural role in the human diet. When taken in small, balanced amounts, particularly when using Ceylon cinnamon, the risks drop dramatically. The extremely low levels of coumarin in Ceylon make it a much safer choice for daily use. By simply switching from cassia to Ceylon, most of the supposed cancer risk disappears. What makes this topic even more complex is the issue of contamination. In recent years, investigations have uncovered cinnamon powders contaminated with heavy metals such as lead. Unlike coumarin, lead has no safe level of consumption. It is directly linked to cancer, neurological decline, and a range of chronic health problems. The Food and Drug Administration has warned consumers about contaminated cinnamon products, especially those sold cheaply or without strong quality controls. This is why the source of your cinnamon matters just as much as the type. A contaminated product can create far greater cancer risk than coumarin ever could, and yet many people remain unaware of this hidden danger. It is also worth remembering that context matters. The human diet is full of natural plant compounds that can be beneficial at certain levels and harmful at others. Nutmeg, for example, is safe as a spice, but toxic in high doses. Even water consumed in extreme excess can be harmful. Cinnamon falls into the same category. Used wisely, it is beneficial and even protective. Used recklessly, especially in large daily doses of cassia cinnamon, it can create unnecessary stress on the body. The exaggerated claim that cinnamon causes cancer skips over all of these details. replacing careful science with fear. What we should take from the research is a balanced perspective. Cinnamon is not a carcinogen in the way cigarettes or asbestos are. Instead, it is a complex spice with compounds that can be both harmful and healing depending on how they are used. Coumarin is the component to be mindful of, and the solution is simple. Moderate your intake, favor Ceylon cinnamon, and choose high-quality products from trusted sources. Doing so allows you to gain the benefits without stepping into the territory of risk. It is empowering to know that something as small as reading a label or choosing Ceylon over cassia can change the long-term impact on your health. Instead of fearing cinnamon, you can use knowledge as your shield. By respecting the science and applying moderation, you transform this misunderstood spice into an ally. The myth that cinnamon causes cancer loses its power the moment you understand the truth. It is not the spice itself, but the careless way it is sometimes used or sourced that creates problems. With awareness, you stay on the side of safety and let cinnamon's protective qualities work for you, not against you. Conclusion and call to action. Even though cinnamon has many promising health benefits, it is important to understand the risks and side effects that come with consuming it in the wrong way or in the wrong amount. One of the most serious risks is linked to coumarin, the natural compound that is abundant in cassia cinnamon. When consumed in high doses, coumarin can place a heavy burden on the liver. The liver is the body's main detoxification organ, responsible for processing everything from food and medicine to environmental toxins. If it becomes overwhelmed by constant exposure to coumarin, its ability to filter and protect the body weakens. This damage may not show up immediately, but can develop silently over time, eventually leading to symptoms such as fatigue, nausea, abdominal pain, or even signs of liver failure. People who already have liver disease or take medications that stress the liver are especially vulnerable to this effect, which makes it critical to monitor cinnamon intake carefully. The risks of cinnamon do not stop with the liver. For some people, high amounts of cinnamon can irritate the mouth and digestive system. This irritation comes from cinnamaldehyde, another compound found in cinnamon. When used excessively, cinnamaldehyde can cause sores in the mouth, swelling of the gums, or a burning sensation on the tongue. Ingesting too much cinnamon powder at once may also trigger coughing, gagging, or difficulty breathing, as seen in dangerous online challenges where people attempt to swallow spoonfuls of dry cinnamon. This is not only unsafe, but can be life-threatening because inhaled cinnamon particles may enter the lungs and cause inflammation, infection, or long-term scarring of lung tissue. Cinnamon can also interact with medications in ways that many people are unaware of. For those taking drugs to manage diabetes, cinnamon's natural blood sugar lowering effect may cause blood sugar levels to drop too low, leading to dizziness, weakness, or fainting. Similarly, cinnamon has mild anticoagulant properties, meaning it can thin the blood. When combined with prescription blood thinners such as warfarin, the risk of excessive bleeding increases significantly. People on heart medications, liver medications, or certain antibiotics may also face complications if they consume cinnamon in large amounts. These interactions highlight why moderation is crucial and why it is always wise to be cautious with supplements that concentrate cinnamon's active compounds. Another hidden risk is the possibility of contamination. Recent investigations have revealed cinnamon products with elevated levels of lead, a toxic heavy metal that has no safe level of exposure. Lead contamination usually comes from poor manufacturing practices or environmental pollution where the cinnamon is grown and processed. Consuming contaminated cinnamon can lead to long-term health issues, including neurological damage, developmental delays in children, and increased risk of kidney disease or cancer. This is one of the most dangerous aspects of using low-quality cinnamon products that are sold cheaply without strict testing. Choosing reputable brands that are transparent about sourcing and safety testing is not just a matter of preference. It is a matter of protecting your health. Beyond these more severe issues, cinnamon can also cause allergic reactions in some individuals. Skin contact with cinnamon oil may lead to rashes, redness, or burning sensations. In sensitive people, consuming cinnamon may trigger allergic symptoms such as hives, swelling, or difficulty breathing. While these cases are less common, they remind us that natural does not always mean safe for everyone. Each body responds differently, and what helps one person may harm another if consumed without care. Pregnant and breastfeeding women should also be cautious. While small amounts of cinnamon used in cooking are generally safe, large doses or concentrated oils can stimulate uterine contractions and may increase the risk of complications. Children, because of their smaller body weight, are at higher risk of exceeding safe coumarin limits, even with modest amounts of cassia cinnamon. What may seem harmless for an adult could be excessive for a child, especially if cinnamon is added daily to meals, snacks, or drinks. Understanding these risks does not mean you should fear cinnamon entirely. Rather, it means you must respect it as a powerful spice with both benefits and dangers. Used in moderation, particularly when choosing Ceylon cinnamon, the risks are minimal. But ignoring these facts and consuming cinnamon carelessly can turn a health-friendly spice into a hidden threat. The key lies in balance, awareness, and the quality of the cinnamon you choose. When you keep these facts in mind, cinnamon becomes a tool you can use wisely instead of a hazard that harms you silently. By being mindful of the type, the source, and the amount, you protect yourself from unnecessary risks while still enjoying its flavor and health-promoting qualities. The danger is not in cinnamon itself, but in how it is used and where it is sourced. With this knowledge, you are already ahead of most people who never take the time to look deeper into what they consume. Conclusion and call to action. When the conversation turns to memory loss and cinnamon, it is important to cut through the myths and focus on what science actually shows. The claim that cinnamon directly damages memory is not supported by credible evidence. In fact, much of the research points in the opposite direction. Studies have explored the way cinnamon interacts with brain chemistry, and the findings suggest that it may help protect neurons and improve cognitive function. Animal experiments have shown that cinnamon compounds can reduce brain inflammation and even encourage the growth of new neural connections. These processes are central to maintaining memory and preventing decline as we age. What this means is that cinnamon, when used responsibly, is far more likely to help the brain than to hurt it. So where does the fear of memory loss come from? The most significant concern arises from contaminated cinnamon products, especially those tainted with heavy metals such as lead. Lead is a dangerous neurotoxin with no safe level of exposure. Even very small amounts can cause measurable harm to memory, concentration, and learning ability. For children, exposure to lead can permanently lower IQ and slow development. For adults, it can contribute to memory decline, reduced focus, and long-term neurological disorders. This is why the discovery of lead in certain cinnamon powders and snacks is so concerning. People who believe cinnamon itself is the problem are missing the bigger picture. The real risk comes from unsafe products, not from the natural compounds in the spice. Another way cinnamon has been unfairly blamed for memory loss is through misunderstanding of its effects on blood sugar. Cinnamon can improve insulin sensitivity, helping the body regulate glucose more efficiently. This effect can be very beneficial, especially for people with type 2 diabetes or those at risk of blood sugar spikes and crashes. But if someone is already taking strong blood sugar lowering medication, adding large amounts of cinnamon could push levels too low. When blood sugar drops dramatically, one of the first symptoms is confusion or difficulty thinking clearly. This temporary fog is not true memory loss caused by cinnamon, but it can feel similar in the moment. Once again, the issue is not the spice itself, but how it is used and whether it is combined with medication without proper guidance. It is also worth noting that cinnamon contains antioxidants that protect the brain from oxidative stress. Oxidative stress occurs when unstable molecules called free radicals build up and begin damaging brain cells. Over time, this contributes to memory decline and neurodegenerative diseases. Cinnamon's rich antioxidant profile helps neutralize these free radicals, offering the brain a layer of protection against this invisible but dangerous process. By reducing oxidative stress, cinnamon supports mental clarity and preserves memory over the long term. The link between cinnamon and Alzheimer's disease is particularly interesting. Research has suggested that compounds in cinnamon may block the accumulation of tau proteins, one of the hallmarks of Alzheimer's progression. These proteins, when tangled, interfere with the communication between neurons. If cinnamon can slow or prevent this process, it has the potential to act as a protective agent for the brain. While more human trials are needed, the evidence so far points toward a supportive, not destructive, role for cinnamon in memory health. Still, balance is key. Just as too much cassia cinnamon can stress the liver, too much of any single substance can create imbalances in the body. This is why moderation and quality sourcing matter. Using Ceylon cinnamon in reasonable amounts gives you access to the brain-supporting compounds without overexposing you to coumarin or risking contamination. It allows you to benefit from cinnamon's protective effects on memory without introducing unnecessary dangers. The lesson here is that cinnamon does not deserve its reputation as a memory-damaging spice. That idea is built on fear, misinformation, and confusion about contamination. What the evidence really shows is that cinnamon has the potential to support memory, protect the brain from oxidative stress, and reduce harmful processes linked to cognitive decline. The risks only appear when poor quality or contaminated cinnamon is consumed, or when it is misused in excessive amounts without awareness of coumarin content. When you understand this, you are no longer misled by myths. Instead, you see cinnamon for what it truly is, a spice with powerful protective qualities for the brain when used with care. You recognize that the real threat comes from hidden toxins like lead or from reckless overuse of cassia, not from cinnamon itself. This perspective empowers you to make choices that guard your memory rather than compromise it. And with the right approach, cinnamon can become part of your daily routine in a way that supports both your health and your mind. Conclusion and call to action. If we want to truly protect ourselves from the dangers tied to cinnamon, the most important step is learning how to choose and use it wisely. The first decision always comes down to the type of cinnamon. Cassia cinnamon is the most common variety found in supermarkets and processed foods. It is inexpensive and strong in flavor, but it also contains high levels of coumarin, which, as explained earlier, can damage the liver if consumed regularly in large amounts. Ceylon cinnamon, often called true cinnamon, contains only trace amounts of coumarin, making it the safer choice for regular use. It has a lighter, sweeter taste, and while it may cost a little more, it protects your body from the silent risks that cassia carries. For anyone who wants to enjoy cinnamon daily, whether sprinkled on oats, added to coffee, or mixed into smoothies, choosing Ceylon is the best long-term option for safety and health. The second step is knowing how much is safe. Research suggests that adults should not exceed about 1 teaspoon of cassia cinnamon a day, and even that can be too much for people with sensitive livers or those on certain medications. With Ceylon, the limit is much more flexible because the coumarin content is so low. Still, moderation is key. Using cinnamon as a flavor enhancer in meals and drinks is safe, but consuming large amounts in the form of concentrated, powders, or supplements can push the body into risky territory. The problem is not cinnamon as a spice, but the way some people consume it in extreme doses, thinking that more automatically means better health. In reality, balance is what ensures safety. It is also crucial to pay attention to the source of the cinnamon you buy. Contamination with heavy metals such as lead is a real danger, as we discussed earlier. This problem is more common in cheap, mass-produced brands that do not follow strict testing procedures. To protect yourself, always look for cinnamon from trusted suppliers who provide information about quality control and sourcing. Organic certifications, independent testing, and transparent labeling are signs that the product has been handled with care. Investing in higher quality cinnamon is not about luxury, it is about safety. The small price difference can mean the difference between protecting your memory and liver or slowly exposing your body to toxins. Storage also plays a role in preserving cinnamon's health benefits. Like many spices, cinnamon loses its potency when exposed to heat, light, or moisture. Keeping it in an airtight container in a cool, dark place ensures that its natural antioxidants remain strong. Using fresh cinnamon sticks and grinding them at home can further increase the quality and guarantee that what you consume has not been diluted with fillers or contaminated during packaging. These small habits can dramatically improve the safety and benefits of cinnamon in your diet. Beyond selection and storage, it is important to remember how cinnamon fits into the larger picture of health. No single spice can make or break your well-being. Cinnamon can support memory, help manage blood sugar, and reduce oxidative stress, but it works best as part of a balanced lifestyle. Pairing cinnamon with a diet rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and lean proteins ensures that your body receives a wide range of nutrients. Regular exercise, good sleep, and stress management also play powerful roles in protecting memory and preventing chronic disease. Cinnamon should be seen as a helpful tool, not a miracle cure, and respecting its place within a larger framework of healthy living is the smartest way to use it. Some people may be tempted by cinnamon supplements, which concentrate the spice into capsules or extracts. While these products can deliver higher doses of beneficial compounds, they also raise the risk tied to coumarin and contamination. Supplements are often less regulated than food products, which makes it even more important to choose carefully. Unless advised by a professional, it is usually safer to get cinnamon from natural food sources rather than pills or powders that promise exaggerated results. Using cinnamon in its natural form as part of meals not only provides safety but also allows the body to absorb it more effectively alongside other nutrients. The truth is simple but powerful. Cinnamon can either be your ally or your enemy depending on how you use it. By choosing Ceylon over cassia, by staying within safe limits, by buying from reliable sources, and by treating it as part of a balanced diet rather than a quick fix, you transform cinnamon into a safe and supportive part of your daily routine. Misuse leads to risk, but mindful use opens the door to genuine health benefits. This awareness separates those who accidentally harm themselves with hidden toxins from those who build lasting strength and clarity in both body and mind. Conclusion and call to action. Understanding how cinnamon should be used is only part of the journey. To truly unlock its benefits while avoiding risks, it helps to know the ways it interacts with different parts of the body. One of the strongest and most researched effects of cinnamon is on blood sugar control. Compounds in cinnamon increase the sensitivity of insulin receptors, allowing cells to absorb glucose from the bloodstream more efficiently. This helps stabilize energy levels, reduce sugar spikes after meals, and protect the body from the long-term damage caused by high blood sugar. People with type 2 diabetes or those at risk of developing it can gain meaningful support from moderate cinnamon use, but the same effect can become dangerous if cinnamon is consumed excessively alongside strong blood sugar lowering drugs. That is why moderation and awareness are always at the center of using this spice wisely. Cinnamon also has a significant impact on inflammation in the body. Chronic inflammation is a silent factor behind many conditions, from heart disease to arthritis and even certain cancers. The natural compounds in cinnamon, particularly cinnamaldehyde, work to block inflammatory pathways and reduce oxidative stress. This not only calms the immune system, but also protects tissues from long-term damage. The brain, the liver, and the cardiovascular system all benefit when inflammation is kept in check. This explains why cinnamon is often highlighted in studies looking at natural ways to slow aging and prevent disease. By fighting oxidative stress and inflammation, cinnamon acts as a shield for the body's most vulnerable systems. Its role in heart health is also worth attention. Research has shown that cinnamon may help reduce LDL cholesterol, sometimes called bad cholesterol, while maintaining or even raising HDL cholesterol, which is protective. It can also help lower triglycerides, another marker linked to cardiovascular risk. By improving cholesterol balance and lowering blood pressure in some cases, cinnamon supports healthier circulation and reduces the chances of heart disease. However, this benefit is only seen with moderate, consistent use. When taken in extreme doses, the risks of liver stress or blood-thinning interactions outweigh the potential cardiovascular support. Again, the balance between benefit and harm depends on responsible use. The digestive system also benefits from cinnamon in ways that go beyond flavor. It has natural antimicrobial properties, meaning it can help fight harmful bacteria and fungi in the gut. This reduces the risk of digestive infections and supports the growth of beneficial bacteria that improve digestion and nutrient absorption. People who suffer from bloating or indigestion often find that a small amount of cinnamon tea soothes discomfort. But just as with other uses, too much cinnamon at once can irritate the stomach lining, leading to the opposite effect. This is why smaller, consistent amounts are always better than sudden, excessive doses. When looking at the bigger picture, cinnamon fits into the growing body of evidence around natural compounds that help prevent chronic disease. Its antioxidants protect DNA from damage, its anti-inflammatory effects reduce the burden of chronic stress on the body, and its role in blood sugar management helps protect against diabetes and related complications. For memory and brain health, as explained earlier, cinnamon offers compounds that may block harmful protein buildup and encourage healthy neuron function. All of these effects are powerful, but none of them depend on massive amounts. They are most reliable when cinnamon is consumed as a daily addition to a balanced diet, not as a quick fix supplement or fad-driven challenge. It is also valuable to understand that cinnamon works best in harmony with other healthy foods. Combining cinnamon with whole grains, fruits, and vegetables enhances the body's ability to use its nutrients. For example, pairing cinnamon with foods rich in fiber slows the release of glucose into the bloodstream, giving even stronger support for blood sugar stability. Adding cinnamon to antioxidant-rich foods like berries creates a synergistic effect that boosts overall protection against oxidative stress. This kind of thoughtful pairing turns a simple spice into a tool for amplifying the health benefits of an already nourishing meal. At the same time, cinnamon should never be seen as a replacement for medical treatment. It is a supportive food, not a cure. The danger of misinformation is that people sometimes abandon proven treatments in favor of natural remedies alone. Cinnamon can help reduce risk factors, but it cannot replace medication when it is truly needed. Respecting its limits while embracing its strengths is the smartest and safest way to benefit. When you recognize cinnamon as both powerful and delicate, you place yourself in control. You are no longer vulnerable to marketing hype, myths, or careless overuse. You understand that the very same spice that protects memory, heart, and digestion can also harm the liver or lungs if misused. This dual nature is not unique to cinnamon. It is true of many natural foods and herbs. But by taking the time to learn and apply this knowledge, you separate yourself from those who gamble with their health unknowingly. Conclusion and call to action. One of the most practical ways to apply everything we have discussed is to look at how cinnamon can be safely included in daily life without tipping into danger. The first step is to focus on small, consistent amounts rather than large, irregular doses. Sprinkling a little cinnamon on your morning oatmeal, blending it into a smoothie, or stirring it into tea or coffee gives you steady exposure to its antioxidants and protective compounds. These tiny, everyday amounts are far more effective for long-term health than trying to consume tablespoons at once. This is because the body thrives on balance and moderation, not on sudden overload. When using cinnamon in cooking, choosing the right type makes all the difference. Ceylon cinnamon is lighter and sweeter, which makes it perfect for recipes where you want a gentle, warm spice rather than the sharp intensity of cassia. It pairs beautifully with fruits like apples, pears, and bananas, which themselves provide natural fiber and antioxidants. Adding Ceylon cinnamon to baked goods or yogurt creates not only a delicious flavor, but also a protective combination of nutrients that supports memory, heart health, and stable energy levels. These simple practices help you get the best out of cinnamon while keeping coumarin exposure low. Another safe way to enjoy cinnamon is through herbal teas. Brewing cinnamon sticks in hot water extracts its beneficial oils in a mild, diluted form that is soothing for digestion and warming for the body. Drinking cinnamon tea in the evening can help relax the system and may support blood sugar control overnight. It avoids the risk of overloading the body with powder while still delivering meaningful health benefits. This method has been used in many traditional cultures and continues to be one of the safest approaches today. For those who enjoy adding cinnamon to savory meals, It works wonderfully in stews, curries, and soups. In these dishes, the cinnamon blends with other spices and ingredients, spreading its compounds across the meal in balanced amounts. This ensures that no single serving contains an excessive dose. At the same time, combining cinnamon with garlic, turmeric, or ginger enhances the anti-inflammatory and antioxidant effects, creating a natural synergy that strengthens the body's defenses. These are not new discoveries, but rather wisdom that has been passed down for centuries, supported today by modern science. It is important, however, to avoid trends and challenges that misuse cinnamon. Swallowing dry cinnamon powder, for example, is not only dangerous but also unnecessary. It offers no added benefit compared to safe culinary uses and carries real risks of choking, lung damage, and irritation. The same goes for consuming cinnamon supplements without guidance. While they may promise quick results, they often deliver unsafe concentrations of coumarin or come from sources with questionable quality control. Choosing whole, natural cinnamon and using it in food is both safer and more effective than trying to force large amounts into the body through extreme methods. Children can also enjoy cinnamon when it is used properly, but parents must be more cautious with the type and amount. Because children's bodies are smaller, even modest amounts of cassia cinnamon can push them above safe coumarin levels. This is why Ceylon cinnamon is the wiser choice for families. A small sprinkle on porridge or fruit is enough to provide the flavor and mild health benefits without risking liver stress or exposure to contaminants. Teaching children to enjoy cinnamon in balanced amounts sets the foundation for healthy habits later in life. There is also value in rotating spices rather than relying heavily on just one. While cinnamon is powerful, combining it with other spices such as cardamom, nutmeg, or cloves creates variety in flavor and nutrients. Each spice carries its own protective compounds, and using them together ensures that the body is not overloaded by any single one. This kind of variety is one of the simplest ways to protect against the risks that come from overuse. Instead of focusing only on cinnamon, embracing the richness of different spices creates a more balanced and safer approach to health. Ultimately, cinnamon should be enjoyed as a supportive part of your lifestyle. It is not about fear or restriction, but about wisdom and awareness. By using the right type, the right amount, and the right methods, you can enjoy all of its protective qualities without the hidden dangers. It becomes a spice that supports your memory, balances your blood sugar, strengthens your heart, and soothes your digestion, all while adding flavor and warmth to your meals. This is the balance that transforms cinnamon from a potential threat into a trusted ally for lifelong health. Conclusion and call to action. What makes cinnamon so unique compared to many other spices is how deeply it is connected to both tradition and science. For thousands of years, it has been valued in different cultures, not just as a flavoring, but as a form of natural medicine. Ancient texts from China, India, and Egypt describe cinnamon as a remedy for digestion, infections, and even fatigue. This long history of use shows that people recognized its benefits long before modern laboratories confirmed them. Today, research validates many of those traditional beliefs, showing that cinnamon contains compounds with antimicrobial, anti-inflammatory, and antioxidant effects. By looking at both history and modern science together, we gain a complete picture of why cinnamon deserves respect, but also careful handling. Modern studies on cinnamon's impact on metabolism are particularly striking. Research shows that cinnamon slows the emptying of the stomach after meals, which helps prevent sharp spikes in blood sugar. It also improves insulin signaling, allowing glucose to enter cells more effectively. This makes cinnamon especially valuable for people who struggle with insulin resistance or early signs of type 2 diabetes. The ability to stabilize blood sugar not only protects the body from long-term complications, but also improves daily energy and focus. When blood sugar remains steady, concentration and memory function more reliably, and mood swings become less intense. In this way, cinnamon indirectly supports mental health while also guarding physical health. Another fascinating aspect of cinnamon is its antimicrobial power. The essential oils in cinnamon have been shown to fight harmful bacteria such as E. coli and Salmonella, as well as fungi like Candida. This is why cinnamon, was historically used to preserve food before refrigeration existed. Even today, including cinnamon in meals can add a subtle layer of protection against foodborne pathogens. In the gut, these antimicrobial effects help reduce harmful bacteria while supporting a healthier balance of beneficial microbes. Since gut health is closely linked to brain health through the gut-brain axis, cinnamon's influence on digestion may also contribute to sharper memory and better mood. Cinnamon's potential to reduce the buildup of harmful proteins in the brain, as mentioned earlier, continues to attract scientific attention. These proteins, when allowed to accumulate, interfere with communication between brain cells and are strongly linked to neurodegenerative conditions. Early laboratory studies suggest that compounds in cinnamon may block or reduce these buildups, offering protection against memory decline. While more clinical research is needed, the results so far are promising and align with cinnamon's broader role as a supporter of brain health. What is important to remember, though, is that these benefits do not come from extreme consumption. They are most likely to appear when cinnamon is used consistently in small, safe amounts over time. In addition to its role in physical and mental health, cinnamon also supports emotional well-being through its warming aroma and flavor. The scent of cinnamon has been studied for its potential to reduce feelings of stress and anxiety, likely because it stimulates parts of the brain connected to memory and mood regulation. This is why many people feel comforted by the smell of cinnamon during baking or when enjoying a hot drink. While this effect may seem simple, emotional health is an important part of overall health, and even small improvements in mood and relaxation can make a difference. Cinnamon's ability to engage both the body and the mind makes it a uniquely powerful spice. However, all of these benefits depend on using cinnamon responsibly. When contaminated with heavy metals or consumed in excessive amounts, the risks overshadow the advantages. This is why awareness is crucial. Choosing high-quality Ceylon cinnamon, limiting daily intake, and avoiding dangerous practices like swallowing dry powder are the steps that transform cinnamon into a safe ally. Without this awareness, even the most beneficial spice can cause harm over time.